Hey guys, what's up? It's Josh, and we are back to do some more of our Montana CDL Manual for 2016. Just like we've been doing, don't forget to check in my pants for the links to the manual test website, which we're going to go over after we finish going through the manual, and also the video with Ruby, an instructor from Wil-Trans, and she goes over a pre-trip inspection, and also links to Allie Knight, Ellie, and Heather and Jason, the Crafty trucker, because they're amazing and they've all helped us in their own ways, and we want to send a little love their way. So last time we covered section 13. This is section 14. We at the end read a really long section on page 2-22, section 2 of driving safely, on cell and mobile phones, and the next section that we're going to cover today is 2.9.5 for texting. For the last video, we didn't have any questions, so we're just going to get right into the material because we've got a lot of book left to cover. And I don't know about you guys, but it's the 18th of December, and by the 2nd, I'm going to be in training, so I need to get a hustle on and move on this. And you guys are helping me. We're study buddies, right? Excellent. Did you bring your handy dandy notebook? No? Alright, we'll pause the video, go get it, and we'll wait. Are we waiting, babe?
Sure.
Maggie's my girlfriend. You'll see her in other videos, and Marvin is our pug. You'll see him in other videos if you're brave enough to peruse the channel. And, yeah, so that's our little family. Okay. Here we go. 2.9.5 texting. 49 CFR part.
Don't do it, retards.
Don't do what?
Text.
Texting. Don't. And even if you... No. No. Babe, it's not really PC to say retards.
Don't do it, people.
People's a bit nicer. Part 383, 384, 390, 391, 392, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, FMCSR, prohibits texting by commercial motor vehicle drivers while operating in interstate commerce. So if you're driving intrastate, you can text, but not interstate? That makes no sense. Just don't do it.
I'm telling you, I think the laws could be different state by state.
That's crazy. And implements new driver disqualification sanctions for drivers, of CMVs who fail to comply with this federal I've been reading for like a minute and I'm already starting to... This is dry material. Okay. Who fail to comply with this federal prohibition, or who have multiple convictions for violating a state or local law ordinance on motor vehicle traffic control that prohibits texting while driving. Additionally, motor carriers are prohibited from requiring or allowing their drivers to engage in texting while driving. Texting means manually entering text info or reading text from an electronic device. This includes, but is not limited to, short message servicing, emailing, instant messaging, a command or request to access a worldwide web page, or engaging in any other form of electronic text retrieval or entry for present or future communication. Electronic device includes, but is not limited to, a cellular telephone, a personal digital assistant, pager, computer, or any other device used to enter, write, send, receive, or read text. Your CDL will be disqualified after 2 or more convictions of any state law on texting while operating a CMV. Disqualification is 60 days for the second offense within 3 years and 120 days for 3 or more offenses within 3 years. In addition, the first and each subsequent violation of such a prohibition are subject to civil penalties imposed on such drivers in an amount up to $2,750. No motor carrier shall allow or require its drivers to engage in texting while driving. There is an emergency exception that allows you to text if necessary to communicate with law enforcement officials or other emergency services. So, if you're texting 911, apparently that's legal. Can you even text 911?
What?
It said the only exception, like being on the phone, is if you're communicating with emergency services or law enforcement. So, can you text 911?
No.
I didn't think so.
Unless you're blind and you probably aren't operating a vehicle.
Okay, moving on. Evidence suggests that text messaging is even riskier than talking on a cell phone because it requires you to look at a small screen and manipulate the keypad with one's hands. Texting is the most alarming distraction because it involves both physical and mental distractions simultaneously. Research shows that the odds of being involved in a safety-critical event, a crash, near crash, unintentional lane deviation, is 23.2 times greater for CMV drivers who engage in texting while driving than for those who do not. Sending or receiving text takes your eyes from the road for an average of 4.6 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, you would travel 371 feet, or the length of an entire football field, without looking at the roadway. Now we're on page 2-23. 2.9.6, don't drive distracted. Your goal should be to eliminate all in-vehicle distractions before driving begins. Accomplishing this goal can be done by assessing all potential in-vehicle distractions before driving, developing a preventative plan to eliminate possible distractions, expecting distractions to occur, discussing possible scenarios before getting behind the wheel. Based on the assessment of potential distractions, you can formulate a preventative plan to eliminate possible distractions. If drivers react a half-second slower because of distractions, crashes double. Some tips to follow so you won't become distracted. Turn off all communication devices. If you must use a mobile phone, make sure it's within close proximity, that it is operable while you are restrained. Use an earpiece or the speakerphone function. Use voice-activated dialing or use the hands-free feature. Drivers are not in compliance if they unsafely reach for a mobile phone, even if they intend to use the hands-free function. Do not type or read text messages on a mobile device while driving. Familiarize yourself with your vehicle's features and equipment before you get behind the wheel. Adjust all vehicle controls and mirrors to your preferences prior to driving. Pre-program radio stations and preload your favorite CDs. Clear the vehicle of any unnecessary objects and secure cargo. Review maps, program the GPS, and plan your route before you begin driving. Don't attempt to read or write while you drive. Avoid smoking, eating, and drinking while you drive. Leave early to allow yourself time to stop to eat. Don't engage in complex or emotionally intense conversations with other occupants. This is actually one of the questions. One of the questions says, and it gives a bunch of options for, and one of them is, the correct answer is, it's basically, how do you keep from getting distracted behind the wheel? And it's like, have all of your emotionally complex conversations within the first few hours of driving, which is kind of funny. And the right answer is turn your cell phone off until you reach your destination, which I won't be turning my cell phone off because I'm going to try and find a program that I can use for my cell phone so that it's my GPS. But in lieu of that, I would have it mounted and
turn off the ringer.
I won't be interacting with it while I'm driving. And my cell phone, it's an iPhone, and I call him Dobby. And so Dobby, as the Siri function, can do quite a bit of things. But me personally, I think in the beginning, and for at least quite some period, I feel like I'm going to need to really be focused in order to keep safe. So that's kind of what I'm planning to do. Same page, 2-23, 2.9.7. Watch out for other distracted drivers. You need to be able to recognize other drivers who are engaged in any form of driving distraction. Not recognizing other distracted drivers can prevent you from perceiving or reacting correctly in time to prevent a crash. Watch for vehicles that may drift over the lane divider lines within their own lane. Vehicles traveling at inconsistent speeds. Drunk. Drivers who are preoccupied with maps or food, cigarettes, cell phones, or other objects. Drivers who appear to be involved in conversations with their passengers. Give a distracted driver plenty of room and maintain your safe following distance. Be very careful when passing a driver who seems to be distracted. The other driver may not be aware of your presence and they may drift in front of you.
Didn't you do this section yesterday?
No. 2.10 Aggressive drivers road rage. 2.10.1 What is it? Aggressive driving and road rage is not a new problem. However, in today's world where a heavy and slow-moving traffic and tight schedules are the norm, more and more drivers are taking out their anger and frustration in their vehicles. Crowded roads leave little room for error, leading to suspicion and hostility amongst drivers, and encouraging them to take personally the mistakes of other drivers. Aggressive driving is the act of operating a motor vehicle in a selfish, bold, or pushy manner without regard for the rights or safety of others. Road rage is operating a motor vehicle with the intent of doing harm to others or physically assaulting a driver or their vehicle. 2.10.2 Don't be an aggressive driver. Don't be aggressive. Don't be aggressive. How you feel before you even start your vehicle has a lot to do with how stress will affect you when driving. I feel like that's a rule in general as far as life goes. If you get out of bed and you're in a bad mood, and you stub your toe, you're more likely to be like, well, there goes my day. And if you're in a good mood and you get out of bed and you stub your toe, you might just be like, oh, that sucked, and then keep it moving. So I feel like that actually makes sense. Reduce your stress before and while you drive. Listen to easy listening music. Give the drive your full attention. Don't allow yourself to become distracted by talking on your cell phone, eating, etc. Be realistic.
Music might put you to sleep.
Well, it depends. Because if, like, I'm listening to Adele and she's soothing, and, like, that's not going to put me to sleep.
Is she soothing, though?
I think so. You don't like Adele.
Yes, I do.
Moving on. Be realistic about your travel time. Expect delays because of traffic, construction, or bad weather, and make allowances. If you're going to be later than you expected, deal with it. Take a deep breath and accept the delay. Also, communicate with your company because that's a thing that they appreciate, and it might actually help you, learn to accept it because, well, maybe they can find a driver to swap loads with you, that, maybe the other driver might be late but not as late or something like that. You never know. Give other drivers the benefit of the doubt. Try to imagine why he or she is driving that way. Whatever their reason, it has nothing to do with you. That's actually, it's kind of like when you encounter someone who's an absolute turd bird and you're basically like, you have a problem with me that probably, most likely, isn't actually about me. Because the way that people respond to something, if they respond in a over-the-top manner, it's usually about them. And so it makes sense that, people are driving like absolute crazy people, then that's not about you. It's water off a duck's back. Slow down and keep your following distance reasonable. Don't drive slowly in the left lane of traffic. Avoid gestures. Keep your hands on the wheel. Avoid making any gestures that might anger another driver. Even seemingly harmless expressions of irritation like shaking your head. Be a cautious and courteous driver. If another driver seems eager to get in front of you, say, "Be my guest." This response will soon become a habit and you won't be as offended by other drivers' actions. They say, you don't have a choice about everything in life, but you do have a choice with how you're going to handle situations. So you don't want to be that, you don't want to be that driver that gets his or her panties in a bunch just because somebody cuts you off. Let it go, and obviously that person might be having a bad day, but that doesn't mean that you have to match their instability and let it affect you. Or at least that's my opinion of this. Okay. We're still on page 2-24, but we're at section 2.10.3. What you should do when confronted by an aggressive driver. This is one of the questions, and the answer is nothing. First and foremost, make every attempt to get out of their way. Put your pride in the back seat. Do not challenge them by speeding up or attempting to hold your own in your travel lane. Avoid eye contact. Ignore gestures and refuse to react to them, which, little side note, that usually pisses them off more than anything else. And you did nothing, literally. They just want someone to react. They're trying to put negative energy out there, and if you don't accept it, it goes back to them, and that feels even worse to them. So maybe a little bit of you can be like, I'm not even going to give you a reaction because you don't matter. Report aggressive drivers to the appropriate authorities by providing a vehicle description, license number, location, and if possible, direction of travel. If you have a cell phone and can do it safely, call the Popo. If an aggressive driver is involved in a crash further down the road, stop a safe distance from the crash scene, wait for the police to arrive, and report the driving behavior that you witnessed. Yeah, that's a good way to get shot. I wouldn't do that, personally, because I plan on having my family on the truck. What I would do is, if anything, I would have Maggie call and just call 911 and just report what we saw. I'm not stopping and getting out. No. I'm not doing that. Okay, so subsections 2.9 and 2.10. Test your knowledge. I hate these because they don't give you answers. Number 1, what are some tips to follow so you won't become a distracted driver? Get your music set before you start. Get your GPS set before you start. Turn off your cell phone or ignore it, or if you're going to use it hands-free, keep it within reach so you don't have to like move or whatever. Don't eat, don't drink, don't smoke. Just stay focused. Also, prepare for distractions and think of how you're going to deal with them when they come. Alright, question number 2. How do you use in-vehicle communications equipment cautiously? I mean, you're really not supposed to, so I'm not quite sure. I mean, it basically says, like, turn off all communication devices. So, I guess the only way that you could use it cautiously is if you're going to use your if you're going to use your cell phone hands-free, like, have it near you so you don't have to reach for it. But beyond that, you shouldn't, I don't think you're supposed to be, like, on your CB. I think you would pull over for that. I might have that wrong. If you guys know something different, comment below and let me know, and we'll have we'll talk amongst ourselves. Okay. Number 3, how do you recognize a distracted driver? With your eyes. Like, you just look, and if they're eating, or they're looking at a map, or they're on their phone, or they're having a conversation, or something like that, like, just be aware and give them extra space. Okay. Number 4, what is the difference between aggressive driving and road rage? I mean, aggressive driving, I feel like, is being extra, more than necessary, being pushy, bold, maybe a little reckless. It's not good, but I feel like road rage is like the intent to harm. Or the you don't even care if somebody gets hurt because you're so mad. I feel like that's the difference. Both are really bad. Yeah, road rage is operating a motor vehicle with the intent of doing harm to others or physically assaulting the driver or their vehicle. Aggressive driving is the act of operating a motor vehicle in a selfish, bold, or pushy manner without regard for the rights or safety of others. Yeah, so that's right. Number 5, what should you do when confronted with an aggressive driver? Nothing. Like, literally don't look at them. Keep your hands on the wheel. Don't even, like, shake your head like sassy. No, you ain't in your mama's car driving on... No. You're in your business vehicle. And even if you're not, I almost feel like driving a CMV is going to make me a better driver all the way around. Because I have been guilty of doing the head shake like, you are a mess at other drivers. And there's no good reason for that. That's just ego. Like, yeah, I'm a better driver than you, and I'm going to shake my head to let you know? That's stupid. I should stop doing that, and I will. So yeah, no reaction is how you would handle that. Number 6, what are some things you can do to reduce your stress before and while you drive? You could listen to some Adele, you know, or some easy listening music. What else? I mean, planning your trip out ahead. If you know you're going to be late, just like say, okay, that's what it is. I feel like a lot of times for me, like, what's it say? Like, reduce my stress. I feel like making sure that that everything is the way that I want it to be in the car. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Kevin Hart, but in one of his comedy shows, he, like, talks about his manager, and his manager, like, gets himself set, and, like, gets everything set, and he's like, I'm doing this, I'm making sure my windows are good, my seat's at the right angle, and I'm comfortable. I feel like that's me. So, I feel like that would definitely be something that makes sure everything's ready and set before I'm rolling. Okay, so that's the end of the questions. We're still on page 2-24. You know what? Let's actually make this the next video. We're going to stop it here. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please feel free, if you find this video, I'm knocking stuff over with my foot. Please feel free if you find this in the future. Today it's December 18th, 2016. And I am a rookie, but if you find this in the future and it helps you or you need help, a lot of people have helped me, and I would love to do the same for you. So if you're watching this in the future, please feel free to reach out, and I'll do whatever I can to assist you or answer any questions. But yeah, that's all. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time, probably in about 2 minutes from me.